Twitter criticism. Reading still Russia Today. Still reading Russia Today. Trying to find out what's going on with Kursk region, with Ukraine. Oh, is a conflict is coming to an end in Ukraine. It says Russia Today, October 18, 2024, home, Russia and former Soviet Union. Guessing end date of Ukraine conflict. Counterproductive. Oh no, it's the opposite. There's no date. There's no plan for the end in the foreseeable future. Who say that is Vladimir Putin. Moscow is ready to continue armed hostilities, but it is also open to negotiations, the Russian president says. We have a photograph of a Russian gun truck trying to make a prognosis about when exactly the conflict between Russia and Ukraine might end is a difficult and overall counterproductive endeavor, Russian President Vladimir Putin has said. Putin spoke about the ongoing conflict on Friday during a meeting with leading reporters of the BRICS nations. He refused to make any predictions on when the hostilities will end, cautioning others against making such forecasts as well. Quote, trying to define some timeline is a very difficult thing, and it is generally counterproductive, Putin said, while responding to a question on when Russia expects to achieve victory. At the same time, the Russian president noted that Moscow fully understands the impact the prolonged hostilities have had on global affairs. Quote, Russia understands that the conflict in Ukraine is an irritant in global affairs and strives to reach peace as soon as possible, he said. Putin reiterated Moscow's willingness to engage in negotiations to bring the conflict to its end, adding, however, that it's up to Russia's opponents to demonstrate goodwill and signal readiness for talks. Quote, if this is a completely sincere position from the other side, sure, the sooner the better, he said, warning that Moscow is fully capable of continuing with the armed conflict for as long as it takes to achieve victory. Quote, the Russian army has certainly become not only one of the most high-tech but also the most combat-ready forces. And when NATO gets tired of fighting with us, you have to ask them about it. We are ready to continue this struggle and victory will be ours, Putin insisted. And there's a related news, read more. Now is worst moment for Kiev to start peace talks, EU state leader. So a news from yesterday, October 17, 2024. Now is worst moment for Kiev to start peace talks, EU states leader. Why? Let's find out. The Lithuanian president, Vladimir Putin, feels that Russia is the stronger party. The president of Lithuania has argued. There's a photo. A Ukrainian soldier prepares ammunition to be used with drones. A huge bomb against drones. The current state in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine is the worst possible time for Kiev to begin negotiations with Moscow. Lithuania's president Gitanas Nausėda has claimed, Russian forces have been steadily advancing in Donbass and other parts of the front line since the start of the year, capturing dozens of populated areas, including the strategic town of Avdiivka in February and the stronghold of Ugledar earlier this month. Territory under Ukrainian control in Russia's Kursk region, where Kiev troops launched an incursion in early August, has also been shrinking in recent weeks. Russian President Vladimir Putin, quote, thinks he is prevailing and pushing Ukraine into the corner, Nauseda told journalists on Thursday, as he arrived at a summit of EU leaders in Brussels. Quote, this is the worst moment to start negotiations because he feels Russia is the stronger side, he said, as cited by Reuters. Ukrainian leader Vladimir Zelensky is scheduled to address the gathering in Brussels later in the day in order to promote his self-styled victory plan. Zelensky presented his proposals to the Ukrainian parliament on Wednesday, saying they include an immediate invitation for Kiev to join NATO, the lifting of restrictions on the use of Western-supplied long-range weapons for strikes on internationally recognized Russian territory, as well as the deployment of a comprehensive non-nuclear strategic deterrence package on Ukrainian soil. Quote, this plan can be implemented. It depends on the partners. I emphasize on partners. It doesn't exactly depend on Russia, he claimed. Quote, there's nothing new in there, the Lithuanian president said of Zelensky's plan. There is what we wanted to do but failed to do at the Vilnius summit in 2023 on inviting Ukraine to join NATO, and then the same thing happened again in Washington in July. Quote, as long as we do not do it, we are far from victory. The very casual links here are self-evident, Nauseda, who has been a staunch supporter of Ukraine during the conflict, added. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova has described Zelensky's proposals as a set of incoherent slogans, saying that they were not a victory plan, but more of a plan for misfortune of Ukraine. In June, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced that Moscow was ready to stop the fighting and immediately begin talks with Ukraine if Kiev were to officially give up its NATO aspirations and withdraw from the Donetsk and Lugansk People's Republics and from the Kherson and Zaporizhia regions, which joined Russia after referendums in the fall of 2022. Zelensky rejected the offer, branding it an ultimatum. The Kremlin said those terms were no longer on the table after Ukraine launched its incursion into Russia's Kursk region.